unconventional designs and prototypes rarely saw combat. But one animal-borne explosive device came close to serial production due to a severe shortage of better alternatives. This is the anti-tank dog. The Soviets called it Собака Истребитель Tankov, ironically abbreviated to SIT. Used by the Soviet Army during the Second World War, it was a desperate attempt to stop German tanks at all costs. The 1st Battalion of Special Service Dogs was formed in 1941 and consisted of 212 trained animals. In this part of the film, we'll break down the 1943 standardized battle-tested explosive device known as the anti-tank mobile mine. The mine was designed as a canvas dog pack with 2 side bags containing TNT and a central wooden board with a trigger device. The total explosive load was 27.3 pounds, equivalent to approximately 2 German heavy Telemine 35 anti-tank mines. The trigger device was housed in a metal box riveted to a board positioned on the dog's back. The box had a hinged lid and featured 2 compartments. A 0.9 pound primary charge was placed in one of the compartments. 2 explosive-filled cords with detonating caps connected the trigger device to the side bags. The second compartment was used to mount the detonation system and hold an MUV pencil-type detonator. The handler would carry the detonator until such time as the dog was to be deployed. The target sensor of the bomb was a spring-loaded wooden lever, approximately 7.9 inches tall. It was connected to a rotating curved metal tooth with a safety pin that prevented accidental detonation. Once loaded, the whole pack weighed approximately 40.6 pounds. Different dog breeds were trained and used in combat, but German Shepherds were the preferred choice to carry the device. They were large enough to carry the mine pack and responded well to training. To ensure dogs attacked moving tanks, the handlers relied on a basic food reflex during training. Dogs were fed exclusively under stationary tanks, then under tanks with running engines, and finally under tanks that were moving and firing. The goal was to condition the dog to associate the space under a tank with food. In frontline conditions, managing regular training with actual tanks was difficult, and the dogs quickly lost their skills, resulting in numerous failures. During defensive operations, the Soviets employed special foxholes dug along routes where enemy tanks were expected to advance. Each foxhole was about 6 feet 7 inches deep and placed in a staggered checkerboard pattern. The distance between foxholes was typically 250 feet to 328 feet. The foxholes were designed to hide both the dog and its handler while allowing quick release. Inside the position there was a raised step. The handler stood on this step to watch for approaching tanks. To the handler's left was a recessed area for the dog, where it waited out of sight. From this resting area, a short earthen ramp led towards the enemy tank route. The ramp was about 5 feet long and angled at roughly 25 degrees, allowing the dog to accelerate quickly while still remaining hidden until the last moment. Once enemy tanks were spotted, the handler armed the explosive device carried by the dog. This meant inserting the detonator and preparing the trigger mechanism. When a tank moved within the engagement distance, the handler pulled out the safety pin, turning the dog into a live explosive. The dog then sprinted towards the tank at speeds of up to 9 miles an hour and dived under the front of the vehicle. When the dog passed beneath the tank, the trigger mechanism pressed against the tank's underside. This pressure released the firing pin inside the detonator. The detonator ignited an MD2 igniter, which in turn set off the TNT charge. The explosion struck the tank's relatively thin bottom armor, often rupturing it, killing or injuring the crew, starting fires inside the vehicle, and sometimes detonating onboard ammunition. It did not work perfectly. Using this crude system during a real-life battle frequently resulted in disaster. Some dogs panicked under artillery fire, attempting to jump back into the Soviet trenches with armed explosives. Also, as dogs were trained exclusively on Soviet tanks, no Soviet tanks could be used on the same battlefield as the anti-tank dogs in case of accidental detonation. Using dogs as anti-tank weapons was not popular with soldiers. It lowered personnel morale and was considered butchery.